Michael Irons and the Great Continent by Nathan Moore. Chapter 18. Sidestep the Inevitable. Michael Irons, his blue eyes only semi-focused, stared up into the white eyes of the great bear. His wounded arm throbbed, its stitches popped by the Babylonian lion. His vision swam and his head pounded rapidly from getting battered across the shallow river. His ribs throbbed angrily from when the rock-solid paw had struck his chest. Even under the best of circumstances, he could not best the bear. He doubted he even possessed the ability to wound it. He had hoped he would be able to travel far enough, fast enough, for the beast to never catch him, or at least until age took enough of a toll that something else ended his life. But no such luck. I sometimes inquired of you, from those who might know. Irons spoke, his voice softer, yes, because of his cracked ribs, but also from the genuine fear that now turned his blood cold, as the vast blacksmith bellows of the bear's breathing buffeted the wide brim of his black hat and cape. The warm breaths stunk of humid death. Interesting enough, the man who could say most was also blind. The great bear sniffed briefly. Yes. His kind appear now and again. A closer taste to the Creator's original plan for mankind. One who presses against the restrictions of sin and can glimpse the rays and machinations of heaven. But I was alone before the first of his kind emerged. Irons made a few small nods. He couldn't tell me much, only that what you want, that what you need, no longer exists. Yes and no, the bear allowed, mighty head moving slightly from side to side, white eyes never blinking, never moving from Irons. I cannot have what I need in the same way you cannot find love. You can't kill yourself, realized Irons quietly. Can. The bear repeated the word, almost with offense. I most certainly can. I am capable of destroying myself, but I will not. Not even your blind seer would truly understand why, if he even knew where to look. Now the eyes wandered a moment, considering, before roaming back toward Irons. It is as you can kill yourself, but will not. That is a grossly insufficient comparison, but remains as close as I can explain. Irons nodded a little, not understanding but acknowledging his comprehension was not expected. The dust of the crumbled Babylonian lion began to blow away on a wind unfelt. And yet, you have not killed me. The great bear seemed to acknowledge this observation with a mixture of low disdain and casual reticence. I do not appreciate this state in which I found you. You have encountered and lain low 3 things stronger than this construct. And the bear seemed to give the lion's dust a slow, bewildered gaze. And yet it left you so reduced. The bear's vast head leaned in, and the sheer, threatening weight it exuded almost drove Irons to his knees. I am second-guessing myself for hoping you might provide a worthwhile diversion. The hackles of the great bear quivered ever so slightly, the hairs bristling less than if moved by a momentary breeze, but even that minute demonstration of distaste sent a deep chill of horror over Irons like a cloud before the sun. Then the great bear relaxed somewhat and rumbled with a sigh. Your inconsistency of ability allowed me to hope that perhaps you would discover new strength and unlocked old capabilities, but alas, I am forced to realize that when you do an uncommon work, it is rarely done mindfully. Oh, wondered Irons. I doubt you even understand how you reached this place, or what it is, the bear countered. While he remained marginally feverish due to his aggravated wounds, the blue eyes of Irons did what they could to focus on the expansive forest beyond the river and the low snow-capped peaks from which the shallow river flowed. Considering he had been wandering wounded in a desert immediately before, coupled with the strange stone guardian, it was rather incongruous. I must indeed cast myself as ignorant, admitted Irons with no small amount of self-reproach, and another glance at the distant, strangely small mountains. Even if I were not wounded nor feverish, I doubt I would understand what brought me here. As I feared. The bear made a heavy, put-upon sigh before regarding Irons with a focus that made his blood run cold once more. I must once again invest to make this of even the most vague interest. The great beast then opened its mouth and exhaled. The breath felt weighty and humid and reeked of beached fish rotting in the sun-scorched sand. But there was also a great power therein which Irons could not describe, something too vast and pervasive to even allow him a moment of repugnance toward the smell. It was as if his mind brushed against a reality-shattering revelation, but could not grasp the incomprehensible scope. He was an ant with an ant's mind, watching the thumb of God bearing down upon him. Then, as the breath and the presence of something passed over him, it took from Irons his pain and injury. The ache in his chest was drawn away as his cracked ribs mended. His fever fled at once. His forearm's flesh pulled together into an angry scar. I braved crossing the Arctic Pass, for the waters you called the Pacific hold death for me. I refrained from the hunting and killing and eating of humanity, subsisting on monsters and beasts and demons, despite tempting the Lord of Flies' ire. I gave you my promise. I kept my word. And how did you honor my sacrifice? Asking one or two learned men of your sin-blighted, dirt-crafted race. The great sightless eyes stared at Irons with a hot and palpable fury. You insult me. You dare insult me. You sought not one weapon, not one spell, not one fragment of knowledge. You stand before me with nothing more than you had last we met. If Irons were any other man, he would have long since passed out. The rage still simmered in the great bear's eyes, but now it regarded Irons with a familiar cold disappointment. How often had he himself regarded prey in the same manner? Its posture shifted. Run. Run, Michael Irons. Every overture of civility was gone from the bear. All that remained was cold, disappointed disdain and grudging anger for both Irons and itself. At least attempt to amuse me. Irons had no chance to reload his pistols, not that they would do any good, and while his two-handed greatsword was precision-tempered, well-crafted, highest-quality English steel, it was, nevertheless, a mortal weapon. The same was true of his broad colonial hunting knife. He had nothing to fight with, and no attempt to deal would avail him now. All he could do was run. So he did. Irons ran. The mountain, low as it was, had dominated his perception and his mind, so Irons fled towards it, foregoing the relatively easy terrain beside the river, since it would benefit the bear as well. Not that he imagined these jungle trees would impede upon the beast overmuch, but it was better than nothing, and he would take every aid he could, regardless of how minute. He had run flat out for 5 minutes, but the very moment the great bear began its pursuit, even at this distance, Iron heard. He could feel the malice, the anger, the baleful self-reproach. How dare this human get its hopes up? How dare this mere mortal promise a true fight? And how dare I even begin to hope he could? The roar of anguish and rage nearly struck Irons from his feet, assaulting his very core and spirit just as much as it impacted his body with genuine physical force. He was a child in a nightmare, fleeing from a terrifying force he could not comprehend, except to know he had angered it. The legs of Irons did propel him at speed. His lungs and heart, strengthened and hardened by years of harsh living, also bore him forward. These things did serve Irons well, but what saved him was luck, intervention, fate. Had he known what was happening, Irons would have credited the hand of God. For where Irons had accidentally traveled was not somewhere a human foot had trod in over 12 millennia, and even that foot had only been 1/3 mortal. Thus, while Irons did not know why the roars of the great bear grew more distant and more confused, he did not question it. When the great cave in the mountain yawned wide for him, it was as if dark salvation itself reached to embrace him. And upon entering, all traces of the bear's terrible voice vanished entirely. For leagues did Irons travel in the darkness, the tunnel never diverting, nor rising, nor falling. 12 leagues in total he traveled, 10 of which he passed in profound, unnatural darkness. Such was its oppression that only the memory of the bear drove him forward. When he re-emerged into the full light of day once more, Irons found himself looking at a morning sun over an expansive, rocky desert, heaped up against a recumbent mountain, from which he had just come. And the thing which guarded the tunnel's entrance made Irons almost wonder if he might have been better off with the bear. Almost.